This video is brought to you by Cooler Master, featuring the Sata 240mm all-in-one CPU water cooling system. Check it out at www.coolermaster-usa.com. This unboxing is actually meant to be an unboxing of a couple of different things. So number one is going to be Silverstone's Strider Gold Evolution Power Supply, the golden standard for PSU performance, efficiency, and quality is what they have to say for themselves about it. It delivers 1,000 watts sustained, 1,100 watts peak, and is basically just got all of the other good stuff about it that Silverstone usually has. So there's a quiet 135mm cooling fan. This is a Strider series power supply, so it is presumably fully modular, although I actually am not 100% sure. And actually, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's 100% modular. Okay, there's some manuals inside. There's some stuff inside here. Don't worry, I'm getting to the second part of the unboxing very quickly here. So we've got a power cable, some do not eat. There's that do not eat. Throw away, do not eat. Thank you. We've got closed cell foam, which is of course very good for keeping your power supply safe. Look at this, that's a nice touch. That's a new thing. So they've included a magnetic dust filter. So that's a 140mm dust filter. You go ahead and pop that on your power supply, or if you don't want to use it on your power supply, you go ahead and put it somewhere else. It's up to you. It's magnetic, so it'll like stick to things that aren't your face. No, it doesn't stick to my face. Okay, that's okay. Power supply. You've got some cable management, Velcro zip ties, as well as some regular zip ties. Some, look at that, 2 sets of mounting screws. So they include 4 thumb screws and then 4 regular black screws for mounting the power supply to your case. And the power supply itself, which has actually just a gorgeous finish on it. So it's got kind of it looks very similar to Mountain Mods' black wrinkle finish. And you can tell right away with a paint finish, is it going to be durable? Is it not going to be durable? This looks like one of the nicer, this might be the nicest finish on a power supply I've ever seen. Check that out. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so FF141, yeah, Magnetize Fan Filter included, 24-hour fully continuous power output with a 40°C operating temperature, so that is extremely high. If you're actually operating your computer in a 40°C environment, then I feel really, really bad for you in addition to your computer. So that means that in all likelihood, this power supply can do more than 1,000 watts sustained if you're in a reasonable room, which is probably more like 20°C, so about half of that. It uses a single 12-volt rail to achieve its 1,000-watt output, so that's 83 amps on that single 12-volt rail, which means it can provide almost its entire 1,000-watt output on that single rail, meaning it's probably using a voltage converter as opposed to having dedicated circuitry inside. So it's actually going, okay, we're going to take the AC voltage coming in at the back, we're going to convert it all to 12-volt DC, and then we're going to convert that DC voltage to 5-volt and 3.3-volt, which are the other rails on the power supply. This actually ends up being more efficient than the more traditional approach of having dedicated circuitry for each one. So it's a very, very good way to do it. And it also means that you're not going to be limited in terms of how many graphics cards or how many 12-volt heavy devices that you can plug into it. CPUs, for example, also use 12-volt. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. Let's have a look at the cables included, and then we're going to move on to the most special part about this power supply unboxing, which is that you don't have to use these cables. So Silverstone has gorgeous power supplies. They look fantastic, but they're not always necessarily the ones that I would want to use for a showcase build, because the cables included, while they have decent sleeving on them, I mean, you actually can't see the color of the cables underneath too much. This is better than most of the Silverstone power supplies I've seen before. Often leave a little bit to be desired, because these connectors, you can see, are using colored cables, and there's a little bit of bare area and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you the alternative cables that you can use that are the best cables I have ever seen. So first of all, harnesses. So the first harness here is triple Molex with a floppy connector on the end of each one, and it's about a, looks like about a Linus belly button to tip of Linus arm in terms of length. All right, the next one we have, these are quad SATA harnesses, and they are using sort of the upside down configuration. So that means you have to run it up to the top and then down to an optical drive due to the orientation of the connector itself. This doesn't really bother me because generally speaking, if I'm going down to hard drives, I don't mind kind of going like this because they're not that far away. And if I'm going down to an optical drive, I'm usually cable managing up the back of the case. But not everyone prefers that, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys make a decision. Similar length on that guy. 24-pin connector, very short for the 24-pin connector, which I do like to see because you don't need a long 24-pin connector. You don't route them that far. All modern cases pretty much have a nice place to put them. These PCI Express cables have capacitors built into them. This can actually improve the performance, but it's not the kind of thing, again, that I'd like to see on the best cable managed system ever. So there's two 6+2 connectors that have individual connectors on the ends, and then there's two more that have a 6+2 and an additional 6-pin, and these are ideal for graphics cards that have two connectors, so you only actually have to run one cable over to the whole thing, and then you can plug in two connectors to the graphics card itself. So it's a total of 4 6+2s and 2 6-pin connectors. And finally, you've got two 4+4 connectors for high-end motherboards that ask for 2 of them. Now, I promised to show you guys the best sleeved cables that I have ever encountered, ever. And if I could figure out where my knife was, then I would do that. Here we go. So we're gonna cut it open. That felt violent. And there we have it. So these are better than MDPCX, folks. These are the best I've encountered. They actually are using more of a cloth braiding on them as opposed to so they're individually sleeved and they're using not plastic, no plastic, and it's, yeah, just, oh, absolutely beautiful. I mean, part of the point of sleeving is for looks. Part of the point is for better airflow in the case, which individually sleeving the cables kind of kicks in the teeth, but it's fashionable right now, so people do it. But the last point of sleeving cables is actually to make them more durable. So if you were to accidentally slip with a screwdriver and hit something, or with a knife or scissors or pretty much almost anything else, you'd actually have a really hard time cutting these cables because they have an extremely durable sleeving. Or if you had like a cutout in a CPU tray or a CPU hole or something and it rubbed up against it for a long time, if it was just not covered in sleeving at all, if you had two cables that wore out, they could short on each other, whereas that will not happen. So I have a 24-pin. I've also got some other ones here. So I've actually got a wide variety of these cables. You can pick them up. They're good for any, for Silverstone power supplies only. Refer to website for details is what they have to say for themselves. But they're available in a wide variety of different configurations. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. So, okay, yes, the Strider 1000 watt, beautiful looking power supply, kind of ugly cables, but you have the opportunity to put the nicest cables available on it. All right, guys, so this is officially the most gorgeous looking power supply that I think anyone here in the studio has ever seen. So we've got a number of different kinds of connectors here. So this guy right here is an individually sleeved 6+2. The great thing about these individually sleeved cables is if you want to run just a 6, you don't have to put the 2 right next to it. You can actually just tuck them away somewhere here. I mean, you could even cut them off if you really wanted to, but I'd feel like I'm destroying a work of art with this particular power supply. This one right here is a 6+2 plus a 6. So that way you could run one gorgeous sleeved cable to a video card that needs 2 connectors. I'm just going to put this down here. So here's our 24-pin, which also, oh wait, no it isn't. That's 2 4+4s. There we go. So those are for your CPU connectors. Oh, looks so good. So good, like so pro. So much better than even like pro sleeved individually done power supplies. Because if you even look at where they're terminated, there's no heat shrink on any but a few of the connectors. So this one's special because there's 2 wires going into that one. So you can see that there's nothing. It's completely clean. It's very, very rare that you see someone put the time and attention into plastic sleeving to get that right, because you'll actually have to pre-plan the way the cable is going to curve to have them all terminate like that. See, something like Molex, it's a little bit tougher to do that because of the way that the pins are done. But with anything like, here we go, where are they? Yeah, there we go. So there's the 4 pins. So the 4+4s, where are the Sata ones? Sata ones look very clean as well, so there's no color to them whatsoever. I think they're using black wires inside, but it's so hard to tell because this sleeving is so opaque, you just can't see through it at all. So absolutely gorgeous. I think these wires are a little bit, no, they're about the same length as the stock ones that were included, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for checking out this unboxing and first look. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.